We are live. Another episode of the Puppet Podcast. Tonight we receive Tyler Bunch. Ta-da-dam! Yay! I'm so happy. I will bring him in the screen really soon. But just before, I want to wish you a good evening, a good morning, wherever you are in the world. Just right below the interview, from where you are watching, I'm always curious to see. And I want to just bring in this wonderful community we build with the Patreon account that we have. So here it is. And I want to just show you a little of it. So we try to make this on promotion, to give tools for puppeteers on promotion and help the community to do all of those kind of stuff that we can still doing in this weird pandemic time. So streaming online, we do workshop about this. We give tools about like promotion and many things about LinkedIn, Facebook strategy, Instagram, all of this thing about promotion. So I really invite everyone to have a look to our Patreon to see what's going on over there and get some tools to put puppetry all over the place, because that's what is fun. It's puppet. So now the publicity commercial is done. Please let me introduce my wonderful guest, who is part of the cast of this amazing show called Sesame Street. Please welcome in the screen, Mr. Tyler Bunch. Oh my God.
Are we on?
Yes, we are on.
Sorry. I'm a little fried right now.
Yeah, like a French fry,
Yeah,
but not slided.
This COVID thing's got us all turning into couch potatoes, you know?
Yeah, we don't work that much, but you work. You're still working a lot.
I have been very fortunate. I've been very lucky that my world has been able to kind of keep on moving, you know. Yeah. No,
Tyler, you make people laugh. We have laughing people right there in the comments, so that's so cool. Thank you to be part of the show. I'm really full of smile to receive you.
I'm very, very honored to be asked. Thank you so much for reaching out. This is cool.
Yes, I want you to introduce yourself, like your career. I'm such a fan. I saw a lot of stuff that you do online, even like you do OBS. You are a good OBS streamer. I want to know your path to puppetry.
The shortest version of that story is finding a home in the theater as a young person, finding that's where home away from home felt the best, and sort of stumbling into puppetry in my college years as just an extension of my performing persona and my ability to connect with an audience through different means. So puppetry, I'd always been curious about it, but never really dove in enough to get good at any specific form until college. I kind of found television puppetry, and that really pulled my strings, so to speak. So I started practicing pretty hard at getting good at that. And even then I wasn't as good as I wanted to be or needed to be, but I was lucky enough to get a shot fairly early in my career. And for the last 23 years, it's been most of what I do. So television puppetry's kind of taken care of me.
That's amazing. So you start as an actor and you pull puppetry string over that. And you also do music.
Well, yeah, but part of what I assumed was going to be an acting career when I moved to New York in '93, I'd assumed that New York's biggest opportunities were on the stage. So I had endeavored to get good at musical theater, and wound up one of my first big jobs was as a company member for the New York Gilbert and Sullivan players in New York. And I worked with them on and off for about 10 years. So had some success as a vocalist. So yeah, music's all right.
Yeah, music makes people smile. Yes, it's so true. And I want to ask you the first deep question of the Puppet podcast is the why. Why do you cherish the art of puppetry?
Well, for me, um, why I've come to cherish it, like why I adore it now, is the opportunities that I get to connect with an audience and relay wonderfully interesting and entertaining characters on so many different levels for so many different genres and for so many different audience mindsets and sensibilities. My range as a performer is exponential as a puppeteer. I can any character I can put in my heart and in my voice, and I'm fortunate enough to manipulate well, I can bring to the story and bring to the moving moments that are hopefully either giving people some respite from their life or educating them or giving them a new perspective on a subject matter, whatever it is, whatever reason the narrative exists, to be able to embody characters that you wouldn't see a silly guy with a weird beard being able to play if you could see my face. But the fact that I get to sort of use the mechanism and the tool that is that beautifully created and sculpted puppet to connect with an audience in that specific way is it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you're a freedom fan. You like to have exponential, as you said, possibility. That's great.
Yeah, boy. That's and then again, that's one of the reasons I also kind of prefer the style of narrative that camera work provides. Television and film work, you really only have to get it right once, and your effort after that is to see what you can bring fresh to it every time. So there's um I have this kind of approach of do the safe thing until everybody's happy and then start doing things that might not necessarily be as safe. So the improvisational nature that you can give to camera work and then capture that and bring it to the audience, bring the happy accidents to the audience. I really enjoy camera work, especially.
Yes, I think it's a total new form of writing because puppetry is a specific way of writing storytelling, but camera bring another level, like
Hmm.
from the stage. So I agree that it's something really special.
Yeah, and there's again the reach to the number of people that you're lucky enough to be able to reach through video medium is also pretty astounding. Some things that as intimate and as personally touching as a theatrical experience can be, the number of people that you can reach is so much higher, just exponential when you get to be able to use the airwaves and digital and all that stuff.
Yeah, the digital aspect. I want to know also your crush. Like, do you have a specific moment of your crush for puppetry when that happened?
I what's It's funny because it was something that sort of lit a spark, but it wasn't necessarily I didn't see it as a love that could ever be returned. My being fascinated with as a teenager when I saw Fraggle Rock on HBO, um it was a little, and not necessarily my audience age, but my sister was watching it, and when I watched it, I was fascinated trying to figure out how they were doing what was happening in front of me, how these characters were moving, and how all the different scales and they must be doing something with wires in that one, and that one must be radio controlled, and that was obviously a guy in a suit, and then that one's just like the Muppets, but they're doing it different. So the kind of figuring it out mechanical aspects of how they were achieving Fraggle Rock kind of really spun my head around. Fascinatingly, for me at least, I had no idea what it was going to mean to my life later on, and I it didn't drive the passion then, but it certainly informed the interest when I found the opportunity to do it about 7 or 8 years later. So
Yeah, how that happened? Like you receive a call or your
um
your
it was actually a friend of mine saw an ad in the paper, a guy who had worked as a local hire in Florida, where I was going to school. I was at college in St. Petersburg, Florida, and a gentleman who had been hired to do work as a local for the Jim Henson Company when they were doing things for Disney down in Orlando, about an hour and a half away. He had done puppetry for his church and built puppets for his own expression of his storylines and his own characters. And his eyes kind of got opened to the specific skill set required for television puppetry. And it was like a whole new world for him. And he went home and practiced the stuff that you have to practice in front of a monitor to do television puppetry, or at least arm and rod puppetry well, and realized that he kind of hit a block where he didn't have anyone to play with to kind of infuse the creativity and new things to react to, and he was in need of people to play with. And he literally put an ad in the paper that said, "I don't want money, I can't pay money, but I want to teach people how to do this, and we'll see what happens." So I answered the ad and just kind of fell in love with it after he taught me what he knew.
Wow, that's kind of the master who teach.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, Todd
that's
Coyle, very talented
amazing.
dude.
So what would be the best way to arrive into puppetry in your opinion? Like the field of study, or how we can get this art form?
Well, obviously that's gonna depend kind of on which form of puppetry really touches you. Like I said, I started as a marionettist. I had done some hand puppetry after that, but the thing that really called to me was the arm and rod. So my answer is going to be different depending upon the style of puppetry that someone's found a passion for.
Hmm.
I happen to think that pretty much all levels of mass consumed puppetry, be it marionettes or television stuff, it's kind of an amalgamation of all of the art forms. It's painting, it's sculpting, it's movement, it's voice, it's dance, it's music. So kind of whatever your passions are, finding a way to tune all of the various parts of your instrument that have to inform the puppet. So if you find yourself wanting to bring music to the puppet, then you need to get voice lessons and find yourself exposed to as many different kinds of music and why the music touches you. If your experience with a puppet is going to involve more character, then you should, as much as you can, involve yourself in acting or improvisation, so that you can find those facets of the characters within you and what makes them specific and interesting and connects them with an audience. If it's the movement, if you're doing large scale stuff or marionettes, then obviously you're going to need to have some sort of dance training, and you're gonna really push yourself from a movement point of view, and whatever connects you with that movement. It could be martial arts, it could be specific forms of organized dance, it could literally just be going to the clubs every weekend and watching how people move and figuring out how to emulate it. But becoming a student of humanity and what parts of that humanity you want to bring to your art form. The answer is so wide because the world is so wide. So it's literally, what do you want to translate to an audience? Well, you need to inform yourself as much as you can about that subject, so that you have all of the linguistics, all of the dialogue, all of that verbiage of whatever that language is ready to use as soon as you get the opportunity.
Yes, and it's so philosophical to say it like this. You need to immerse yourself in your own message that you want to bring to the world.
That's
That's
one of the
so,
things that, in general, artists have a tendency when we first get into it of thinking we have to be like the thing that touched us, or we have to be like the thing that is successful. When that's it's not wrong, but what's going to be more interesting to an audience is that facet of you that you're communicating through those other things that you're impressed by. You use them as a model to say your own words, to tell your own story.
yes. Wow. This is kind of a quote. It's is well said. It's so great. And let me ask you the next question about your definition, because we are in the wording of what we do. What is your own definition of a puppet?
Um, it's it's a marriage of the artist and expression that brings thought to an inanimate object. and I specifically say thought versus movement because an automaton is movement.
Yeah.
Um, a character, a puppet, we want to know what it's thinking. We want to know what it's feeling. So, to me, it's giving that inanimate object uh, the aspect of thought.
Wow, that's so true. I think it's the first time I get this deep aspect of like put the intention of a thought of a yeah, really something right there. That's so true. Wow. I wanna yeah, connection. Yeah, and we have people go, oh, the potato is back. We have people who say nice, and I want to let you know that we have someone watching from Honduras,
Oh, hey,
Honduras.
Arturo. Hi,
Yeah,
Arturo.
yeah. So we have a
Ellie and Joe Valdez. I think I know that person.
yeah, and I want to ask you also. Do you feel puppetry have reached its full potential? Like, do you feel we still have many to go? Do we are in the golden age or the ascension still going? This is a big question.
Well, there's two answers to that, just because for me there's the artistic, expressive, intercommunicative humanity of puppetry, and then there's the product that is puppetry. There's the mass consumed thing, and I personally think that puppetry as an art form, as an individual form of expression, is on the rise because people are finding their tribe, so to speak, with the internet and chat rooms and being able to reach across the globe like this show does. More and more people are saying to themselves, hey, other people like this, other people do this, and pushing themselves to do better and showing photos of the things and videos of the things that they've done on the internet. But then the consumption side, the
Yeah.
creating things that can help people make a living pursuing their art, in my experience, it follows this kind of sine wave of
Mm-hmm.
um, popularity, and I think we're in a mid zone right now. But I also think that COVID has kind of thrown the whole world for a loop, so it's hard to assess. I think people are going to be finding things within themselves to express now that um but those things won't be able to come to fruition and therefore be consumed by an audience for, well, till we're able to be in a theater with each other again. So
Yeah.
right now everybody's, the videos that they're making and doing things on TikTok and doing things in, various and sundry video platforms, to at least get their work out there. I think the professional side, like everything else right now, is on a little bit
Yeah.
of a downtick, unfortunately. But I think more and more people, especially right now, because we've only got time to sit at home by ourselves and make stuff or think things up. I think
Mm-hmm.
puppetry is blowing up a little bit in terms of people finding it, like I said, as an expression of self.
Yeah. People learn also in this time. They learn about video streaming, but they learn also about the creativity of it. I think I
Mhm.
agree totally. And I want to know your like big purpose for the future. I don't It's kind of a funny question to ask right now because we feel our life have done like a 360. But
Right.
for you, how you voice the next objective for your career?
Um, Figuring out ways to bring what I feel is the magic of puppetry, which is that the other thing that becomes necessary with the inanimate object, feeling and experiencing and translating thought. The other part of that is the audience is complicit in that. If a puppet non-verbally does a specific thing, everyone in the audience is going to have their own version of what they saw happen
Yeah.
because they are necessary. That relationship is the only reason the puppet's thought or life exists. It doesn't have context otherwise. If it's just, one person alone in the room doing something and there isn't an observer, the observer brings the heartbeat, brings the life. The
Uh-huh.
performer imbues what they want to translate, but unless someone's there to hear it, you know, a tree in the forest kind of a thing. So that
Yeah.
having been said, finding out ways to translate that electricity of the moment, like what we call the happy accidents on a film set, when a thing happened that you weren't expecting to happen, but you all captured it and it was amazing. Being able to like CGI and more sets that are being done with virtual aspects, being able to bring characters through puppetry to those situations, kind of like the Jungle Book did, where they had puppet versions of the characters on set with the young man who was playing Mowgli in the latest live action version of Jungle Book. They had actors, performers there, friends of mine there with puppet versions of the characters, so the live child in the scene had something to react to. So when they put the
Yeah.
computer generated animals in later, he was reacting to real things in the space. And there were
Yeah.
things that those performers brought to the text and to the performances that wouldn't have existed otherwise if it had
Yeah.
just been an animator alone in a room. That they inspired all of the creativity of what gave individual aspects to all of those characters, and finding more ways to do that. Again, that's my specific world of doing stuff for the camera. Finding more ways to involve puppetry in the other uh, technical advances that are being captured to translate stories to an audience. So, and I think the next thing is three-dimensional and VR puppetry, of being able to bring characters in an interactive sense to life through puppetry into those experiences would be a really cool thing to happen.
Wow, that's such a target. That's so great. I can't wait to see where you will go with your stuff, and that's such a cool objective. I really like it.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what's happening. I want also to know, because you are part of this legendary cast, like the Sesame Street is kind of a pillar in the puppetry world. So I want to know how you feel to work on that set, or to have this legacy and bring life again to this vision of puppetry.
Obviously, it's very humbling to be part of that show. Um, I was basically, I made a joke actually on set a couple of years ago, that I did the math and realized that I was probably conceived at the same time as Sesame Street. So I was it started on the air fall of '69. I was born in February of 1970. So I've kind of grown up with the show, and I've been the same age as the show. So that connection, just in general, of
Yeah.
seeing as many times around the sun as the show has, is kind of interesting. But uh feeling as if, and we use this phrase a lot, we're kind of the stewards of these characters that have this lexicon of available video. There's so many things on YouTube, and now they're on HBO Max and other places, of like these characters that have such a long history and such a long life, and so many hours of uh doing things to, with, and for the audience, that having that kind of mantle and carrying that torch forward is a little intimidating, but it's also a real honor to be trusted with that. So every day I'm on the set, I'm pretty aware of how fortunate I am, and the kind of the responsibility that we have to make sure that we treat the characters well, and keep them as pure as hopefully everything that's come before.
Yeah, that's true. The pure thing of those characters, it's such a, because they were all over the world. I interviewed the Brazilian Elmo a few episodes ago, and we have Joe who bring this question: do you like Elmo song?
No, I'm sick of it. I hear it's too much. That having been said, Ryan Dillon, who performs Elmo now, he has such an amazing voice. I don't know if you guys have been able to see the Jazz at Lincoln Center with video that's been circulating for that's the Sesame Street characters at Lincoln Center singing jazz. Ryan's so talented. His voice is amazing. So I like hearing Elmo sing. I don't know about Elmo's song.
that's that's true also to play for children. You can go into this level of humor also when we are in adult field. So you have all of those level of, with the set, with people over there. Maybe you have an anecdote for us from that set or that
From
adult
Sesame.
version.
Oh, well, I mean, the most famous one that I've only ever seen video of, but you know, it's been harder in these times, and as the overall scope of Sesame went from doing a lot of shows. There used to be 130 episodes every year, and now we're down to 26 episodes every year. So there's a lot more attention to detail, and it's a shorter period of time and very concentrated. One of the things that used to happen at the end of every season was there, you know, there's a wrap party, and sometimes there would be a show, and there was a gag that happened in one of the rap shows where Snuffleupagus ate a child on set on stage, and it was one of the kids that was a child of one of the people who works on the show. And so in the middle of the sketch, Snuffleupagus literally ate a child. And then a year later, when the same sketch happened after the next season, they did another sketch, and then Snuffleupagus threw up the same child, like barked him back up again. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah. This is such a precious anecdote, a precious moment, also to have access to this. And I want to ask you, where do you see puppetry in 10 years?
Part of what I was talking about
Yeah.
before, I in an ideal world, I see taking the skills of puppeteers and trying to integrate them into the new ways that people are consuming media. So whether that's, you know, finding a way to involve puppetry in shows on personal devices, or whatever new way we're going to experience theater now, if things have to change, finding ways that puppetry can be at the forefront of that, because it's one of the few art forms where
Mhm.
if the performer has to be, they can be completely masked because you kind of want to be sometimes. So kind of makes sense that puppetry could kind of forge the way into whatever live theater has to be now that we're you know, dealing with this pandemic crap. But truthfully, that notion of puppetry being connected to whatever entertainment becomes over the next 10 years, and then again, my specific hopes is figuring out a way to bring it into the technological world so that characters don't feel so rote and they aren't computerized and robotic. There's still a
Mm.
human soul helping translate the
Yeah,
character to an audience.
that's true. We need the soul behind the object. So let's have a question from the audience right now. Here we have filmmaker of the future who brings, what's your favorite role you've played, Mr. Bunch?
Hmm.
It's a good one.
Hmm. Hmm.
I hear the click.
I'm gonna have to say that's a hard one because dear, two answers. The role I had the most fun playing was he was a mascot for Air New Zealand, the airline out of New Zealand, for over a year. I was part of their ad campaign, and I went to New Zealand a couple times and shot some videos for them. The reason it was fun for me is because it was mostly improvisationally based, and the whole thing about the character was he spoke in innuendo, and if you know, you know, everything he said had a second meaning that was usually inappropriately sexual, but he was completely oblivious to it. He didn't know he was making sex jokes, but he did it all the time. So Rico for Air New Zealand was the one I had the most fun doing. The character that kind of set my career on the path that has I've been lucky enough to experience was Treelo from Bear in the Big Blue House. That was kind of that's the one that's kind of in my heart as being what got me started, so to speak. So between those two, I think there's a happy medium in the middle. Yeah.
Yes, true. That's great. That's such a diversified career also that you get performing on stage and doing different puppets. So it's so cool. And I want to know, for the conclusion, I always ask if you have maybe an object, something you want to bring into
Oh,
the
that's right. You did put that down there, didn't you? What's funny about it is like I didn't get permission as to whether or not I could use the
Yeah, that's
characters
the
here, so
point.
there's that. Honestly, I'm gonna encourage everybody. So if you don't already, most of these mediums that we're on now, when you go into, like, for instance, what's the name of the thing? We're on StreamYard now. If
Yeah.
it's Zoom or even the Google Meetups, when you go in there, you can tell your computer to look through various cameras. Right now, I'm telling it to go through the native camera, which is the the FaceTime camera because it's an iMac. But there's an app called Snap Camera that is basically a filter for Snapchat, but it's a separate app, and it works with most of these. So when you go and you have the camera available, like I have the camera mic thing on StreamYard here. When I click on that, it gives me the opportunity to change the input of the camera. Well, if I've downloaded Snap Camera and restarted my computer so that it integrates with everything, I can do this on Zoom. I can do whatever. I can be whatever character that they've put into the filter. So I've been playing with this potato, and he goes green screen. But here, I'm gonna go in here and look at all this stuff. Oh, what I did that pineapple before.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah. Oh, baby. But there's tons of fun things in here, and you can record videos and do whatever. It's kind of like puppetry of the face, basically.
yes.
Whatever character you can come up with, you can do. It is very exciting. Hold on, let me see. I find name a thing. Say a noun. It doesn't matter. Just name an object. Whatever object. Say something.
I would say a bottle.
Bottle. Let's see if there's a bottle.
We have Joe who say lol. So I think your
That's product
pineapple.
placement. Fiji. Yeah, it's product placement. That's silly.
No.
That's just silly. I don't like that. What's this one?
No, maybe
No.
the sun. The sun.
The sun. Ooh, let's see what happens. See, and what's fun is that you can make your own of these, and then some of them, oh, it's just filters. That's just I'm getting
You get the
sunburned. That's
tan.
all that is. That's kind of whatever.
Or the snow. The
Snow.
snow.
Let's see what happens if I do
What
snow
kind
or
of
snowman.
Snowman.
Maybe there'll be a
Frosty.
snow. Oh, here we go. It's a snow globe.
Oh.
You can sort of see my face in there, but not really. Let's see if I do snowman. Hold on. You can sit here while I do all these things. Snowman, snowman.
Yeah, we have the video also going. Oh.
Why is his butt bouncing? That's ridiculous.
And we have the figure skate. Oh.
Pretty silly.
So this is in few months.
Ridiculous. Anyway, I encourage everybody to play with it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to
Snap
go.
camera.
So let's snap camera, everyone. Let's have a fun. And that's the future, as you said. You want to bring the soul behind. So yeah, we can be a puppet.
Digital. Technically, it's digital puppetry. Technically.
Yes, that's true. So yeah, we have good comment right there.
I like
the snowman. Yeah. Tyler, what's really great.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Jack. You're far too kind.
Yes, and we have also people watching from England right there. Ronnie Ladrew. Hi, Ronnie.
Great, Ronnie. Great to have you, mate. Thanks for coming along. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, so cool. So Tyler, if people want to see more of you, want to reach to you, are curious where they should go.
All right. So Tyler_Bunch is the Instagram. I think just Tyler Bunch is at Tyler Bunch. Is there an underscore there for the Twitter? I can't remember. Facebook, obviously, I'm easy to find on Facebook. I'm the only guy with, again, the weird beard. Although there are other Tyler Bunches out there. Next weekend, I'm going to be doing Saturday night and Sunday afternoon, East Coast time. So 7 p.m. Is it 7 p.m.? Yeah, 7 p.m. East Coast time, USA on Saturday, November 21st. I'm part of a play called Star Chamber. It's an original play. I will be playing William Shakespeare in a Zoom play. He's being interviewed about being accused of sedition, and possibly having his head cut off for offending the Queen. So Saturday at 7 and Sunday at 3. And then on December 8th on Amazon Prime, the US, there's a movie coming out called Dr. Bird's Advice for Sad Poets. It's about a young man who is trying to deal with his artistic self, and he envisions the way he expresses his angst is he has a pigeon that is his psychoanalyst that visits him in his room and talks to him about his problems. And I performed the psychoanalyst pigeon, whose voice was later replaced by a famous person, but on set anyway, I performed him. So yeah, like I said, Dr. Bird's Advice is on December 8th on Amazon. And keep your eyes open for Sesame Street and Elmos Talk Show on HBO Max, and various and sundry animated things. If you go to the IMDb page, there's a bunch of crap there. So yeah, I'm in places you don't want me to be.
But you do so much stuff. It's so cool. So yeah, let's have a look on this. I saw the preview of this pigeon thing, and it looks interesting.
Yeah,
really.
it's a good script. It's a good story and very well directed.
Yeah. So yeah, we have Chad who put the pigeon right there. Hi, Chad. Yay! So thank you so much, Tyler.
Thank you.
I had a blast.
Same here. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yay! So you could stay a little in the virtual studio. We can chat after, but for now, we'll say bye-bye and remove you from the screen like this. I always find this sound funny. C'est drôle. Yes, everyone, thank you for watching. And again, have a look on all of those social media that we have with this Patreon. We talk about promotion. This is also the purpose of the Puppet Podcast. We have wonderful workshop. Here is one we have done with Aaron de la Peña from Los Angeles. So we want to give you tools. We want to share puppetry, love and passion. So yeah, have a little look on this. We will have many other great workshop coming. And so yeah, stay tuned. We have 3 podcasts this week. So tomorrow night and also Thursday. So yeah, I wish you a wonderful night, wonderful morning if you are in the other part of the world. And I say, have a nice evening. I will put my jungle. You see, I have a jungle. Yeah, bye-bye. It's a jingle, not a jungle. Okay.